Welcome, everyone. My name is Carol Anktel McCallishan, and I am honored to be the Board Chair of Catholic Social Services. I'm so glad you could all join us for the next 45 minutes or so for our first ever virtual annual public meeting, and it will be my pleasure to be serving as your MC. Today, we will look back and celebrate our accomplishments of the past year while also looking forward as we plan for the year to come. I'd like to acknowledge that we today are broadcasting this event from Treaty 6 territory, traditional lands of many First Nations and Métis people. Catholic Social Services is an agency inspired by the gospel message to serve the poor, the forgotten, the marginalized, and the suffering. And it is in that spirit that we begin with a prayer. Loving God, we come to you in trust, and we place before you all of the good that has been accomplished by so many. But in this especially challenging season, we also place before you the pandemic present in our world. We ask you to bring wisdom to our medical professionals, give understanding to our scientists, endow caregivers with compassion and hope, grace frontline workers with strength and resilience, bring healing to those who are ill, protect those most at risk, give comfort to those who have lost a loved one, and rest to those who have come into their eternal home. We pray that you stabilize our communities, unite us in compassion, remove all fear from our hearts, and fill us with confidence in your care. Amen. It is now my sincere pleasure to introduce our very special guest, the Honourable Salma Lakhani, the new Lieutenant Governor of Alberta. Her Honour is Alberta's 19th Lieutenant Governor, and she was sworn in on August 26, 2020. We are incredibly pleased and humbled that she could join us today, and I welcome her now to offer a few words. Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you, Carol. Hello, everyone in Edmonton. Hello, everyone in Edmonton, and to all those who are watching virtually online. It is my sincere pleasure to join you today. To begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathered here on Treaty 6 territory. In my new role, I am very much looking forward to listening to and learning from our Indigenous people and their communities. I am also excited by aspects of my new duties that allow me to celebrate valued Alberta organizations like Catholic Social Services. The motto for this agency is Sign of Hope. And as someone who once walked my own challenging path, I can tell you that hope is everything. My husband Zahir and I came to Canada in 1977 as stateless people after being expelled from our native Uganda. If you had told me all those years ago that one day this ex-Ugandan Canadian Ismaili Muslim of South Asian descent would be standing in Edmonton speaking as Her Majesty the Queen's representative for Alberta, I would not have believed you. But what I did believe all those years ago, and still believe today, is that any barrier we face in life can be overcome with hard work, perseverance, and a commitment to education on our part, and with acceptance, help, and understanding from the community that surrounds us. Organizations like Catholic Social Services play an essential role in making sure people in need across Alberta receive that life-changing care and support. On a personal note, I know several families who were among the first of the expelled Ugandan refugees to arrive in Alberta in 1972. Many of them have shared how Catholic Social Services was there to support and help them in their time of need as they tried to rebuild dignified lives for themselves in their new adopted homeland. Whatever life challenges they may be facing, regardless of ethnicity, faith, or culture, the agency's clients are treated with dignity and respect and given the tools they need to move forward with hope. That is truly a precious gift. I'd like to offer my sincere thanks to everyone at Catholic Social Services for your sustained and essential efforts, particularly through this very challenging period in our history. Thank you to the management team and board members. Thank you to all the frontline staff and volunteers. And thank you to the generous donors and supporters. I would also like to offer my heartfelt gratitude and support to our client speaker today, Estherine Mwanza. Estherine, you and I have something in common. I understand you grew up in the Congo and had to leave due to turbulent times in your country. You spent more than a decade in a refugee camp in the neighboring country of Uganda, which is the country of my birth. My family was expelled from Uganda in 1972. We are both daughters of Africa, and today we both find ourselves in this amazing, wonderful, and welcoming country of Canada, our new home. Estherine, you represent the power of resilience, possibility, and hope, and I am so honored to share this day with you. I wish you all the very best in life going forward. To everyone who comes to this agency for support, I wish you strength, love, and every possible success. Thank you to all, and please keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor, for your thoughtful words and for your presence with us today. We're so delighted that you were able to join us this morning, and we wish you the very best in your new role serving Albertans. I would now like to share greetings from the Premier of Alberta, the Honourable Jason Kenney. The Premier writes, "On behalf of the Government of Alberta, it is my pleasure to send greetings to the annual public meeting of Catholic Social Services. For almost 60 years, Catholic Social Services has offered a helping hand, a sympathetic ear, and a calm voice of reassurance to people in need across central Alberta. Whether those people have been newcomers to our country, elders living with abuse, families in conflict, individuals struggling with addiction or illness, or people facing a host of other challenges, they have all found a sign of hope in Catholic Social Services. The Government of Alberta is honoured to support Catholic Social Services in the delivery of so many crucial programs to men and women, children and adults of all faiths and backgrounds. While this year's annual public meeting will be a virtual one, the personal, spiritual connection that is at the heart of Catholic Social Services will no doubt shine through as strong as ever. Best wishes for a productive meeting. Premier Jason Kenney." Our sincere thanks to the Government of Alberta for the kind words and well wishes. Indeed, we appreciate the support of all of our government funders and partners. Last year, the Catholic Social Services Board of Directors approved its 5-year strategic plan, Here to Serve, which details how we will continue to serve the most vulnerable members of our community now and into the future. Drawing on our history, our values, expertise, and capacity, we identified 3 goals to guide our work until 2024. We'll lift people and families in lasting ways, strengthen community relationships, and sustain our efforts to serve well. In short, we will lift, we will strengthen, we will sustain. If you'd like to read Here to Serve in its entirety, you can view the plan online by clicking on the Our Mission button on our website at cssalberta.ca. And now I would like to welcome Dr. Troy Davies, CEO of Catholic Social Services, to provide us with a year in review. Troy.
Thank you, Carol. And thank you, everyone, for logging in to today's gathering. Your time is very, very appreciated. CSS starts with a story that goes back to our founding nearly 60 years ago by Father Bill Irwin, and to which we add additional chapters every year, every day, with a new life touched, a new life transformed, and a new life lifted up. In December of 2019, I had the honor of hearing another one of these stories. I was attending our Links for Success Client Celebration Wind-Up at our offices on 118th Avenue in Edmonton. Links for Success is a 9-month CSS program for newcomers, which bridges the gap between their previous professional lives and new opportunities here in Canada. Participants are linked to volunteer opportunities with employment partners from various sectors, including healthcare, construction, childcare, and human services. They learn how to write a resume, develop professional networks, hone their interview skills, and be successful in the Canadian workplace. At the celebration, each client shared what the program had meant to them personally. They spoke of having their self-esteem restored and of being given a renewed sense of purpose and belonging. They were thrilled to be contributing members of society, and they said that they wanted their fellow Canadians to be proud of them. One particular story stayed with me. Jose, an older gentleman who immigrated here from Peru, shared his experience. In his home country, Jose was a radio show host. In Canada, he had been unable to find employment in his field, and he missed his former career, which he loved dearly. In his volunteer placement with a local organization, Jose performed all sorts of tasks. He met with clients, ran papers, he made deliveries. It wasn't his dream job, but it was an opportunity. When Jose took the stage to speak at the December wind-up, he compared his volunteer experience to a single bean. He said most of us, if we were to find a single bean in our cupboard, would simply throw the bean in the garbage. Most would see the single bean as having little, if no value. But if you plant that bean, he said, you'll grow 30 more beans, and now you have enough for a meal. And if you take those 30 beans and plant them, you will now grow 900 beans, and now you can feed your family. And if you plant each of those 900 beans, they'll then grow into 27,000 beans, and now you can feed your community. But it all started with a single bean. His volunteer experience was a single bean gifted to him by Catholic Social Services. No, it wasn't the career he had in mind, but he was confident that if he took advantage of the opportunity, it would one day grow to fill his life with abundance. And he could not thank us enough for that opportunity, for that bean. One of my greatest joys as CEO of Catholic Social Services is hearing and sharing incredible stories like this. Each year, we work with more than 21,000 vulnerable Albertans of all faiths, colors, cultures, and creeds. Our work spans 12 communities across central Alberta, the most sizable being Edmonton and Red Deer. And we continue to be the largest multifunction social service agency in the province and one of the largest in the country. And our work is focused on 3 priority areas. First, serving newcomers. Second, serving vulnerable individuals, children, and families. And thirdly, serving people with disabilities. Almost 15,000 newcomers to Canada turned to CSS last year in one way or another for support as they settled into their new life here in Alberta. These newcomers arrive at CSS speaking countless different languages and represent the greater part of the world's countries. In 2019, we celebrated the 40th anniversary of our refugee sponsorship program. For 4 decades, CSS has been working with parishes across the Archdiocese of Edmonton to help more than 5,000 privately sponsored refugees find safety, peace, and freedom. This past year alone, we helped resettle 209 privately sponsored refugees, working with 20 different churches across Edmonton and central Alberta. We also resettle hundreds of government-assisted refugees each year. In 2019-2020, we met 819 government refugees at the Edmonton International Airport as they set foot on Canadian soil for the first time. And then we walk with them during the months and weeks of their first days in Canada, the country that they now call home. The single most frequent service we provided to newcomers in the past year was language assessment. We assessed nearly 7,500 immigrants and refugees for their English language proficiency, with referrals to ESL and other training opportunities then following suit. Between Edmonton, Red Deer, and Lloydminster, thousands more requested assistance from CSS for guidance on everyday life in Canada, from how to navigate the health and education systems, how to find affordable housing and coaching on what their responsibilities are as tenants, and how to set up a bank account and conduct financial transactions, and how to grow their understanding of Canadian values and make connections to the broader community. Later, in today's meeting, you'll hear directly from one of our Immigration Settlement Service clients, Estherine, as she shares her personal story. You can also read in our annual report how 3 siblings from Myanmar, Mugo, Mualgo, and Sene, overcame persecution and terrible oppression to travel to Canada and begin anew with hope for the next generation. Baby Sarah, who was born in Canada to Mugo, the lady you see in your slide, will now grow up with opportunity to access health care, pursue an education, have a career, and contribute to the social and economic well-being of Canada. Under our second priority area of service, vulnerable individuals, children, and families, we worked with more than 500 families last year to ensure the safety and well-being of hundreds of children through our foster care, kinship care, and collaborative service delivery programs. The Abercrombies are a family who has experienced all 3 of these programs on their journey of meeting, fostering, and now adopting their new son, little Daxton, who you see on your screen. You can read their full story in our annual report as well, but for those of you who haven't yet, please allow me a moment to share. Daxton was 13 months old when Aaron and Brad Abercrombie brought him into their home. The family had 4 biological daughters, but knew that there was room in their hearts for one more. They discussed, researched, and prayed for the right decision, and their discernment led them to Catholic Social Services, where they underwent the process of becoming licensed foster parents. Daxton was their first placement. At the time, he was in kinship care placement with his elderly grandparents. Born with chronic kidney disease, a potentially life-threatening condition, Daxton had complex medical needs that required around-the-clock care. His grandparents needed respite, and the Abercrombies were able to provide that. Aaron describes meeting Daxton for the first time and falling in love. What she saw was not the feeding tube connected to him or the motor skill delays his illness had caused. She saw a child, undiscerning with his affection, who needed and wanted her love, and her heart was open and ready to give it. Over several months, the respite arrangement extended for longer periods of time until it became a full foster placement. During this time, Daxton's health declined to the point where he needed a kidney transplant. Both foster parents are tested, and Brad was a match. And he didn't hesitate for a moment to give his kidney to Daxton if it meant he could save his life. The pair underwent surgery last December, and unfortunately, the kidney did not take. Aaron, who was not a match for Daxton, was registered with the Kidney Pair Donation Program. This means that when a match is found for Daxton, because it will be found, she will donate her kidney to a person in another family, also waiting on the list. Now, during all of this, Daxton came up for adoption. The Abercrombies filed, and in May of this past year, Daxton stood socially distanced on his porch and introduced himself proudly to his CSS caseworker for the first time as Daxton Abercrombie. It's not necessarily blood that makes a family, it's love. And at CSS, it's our great privilege to help love always find a way. Our work in foster care, kinship care, and collaborative service delivery is just one area we undertake in serving vulnerable individuals, children, and families. Also within this priority area are a variety of specialized group care arrangements, including our 2 parenting homes, which serve teen mothers who want to keep their babies but need a place to live and wraparound supports. Our Safe House in Edmonton, which provides residential or outreach supports to well over 100 teens and young adults who have experienced or are at risk of sexual exploitation and homelessness. A new partnership, very exciting, with Edmonton Catholic Schools, which enabled us to help 9 youth in care graduate high school this year. These are youth who had previously dropped out or could not function in a traditional school setting. It would not have otherwise earned a high school diploma. Now they have a newfound hope for their future. Catherine Drexel Place, LaSalle, and Valeda House are 3 homes that serve as shelters and safe places for abused women and their children, served a combined 177 women this past year. And our Mercy Counseling Centre was honored to provide psychological services to more than 613 clients last year, many of whom received a subsidized rate, meaning they did not have to go without access to mental health services. Finally, our third priority area, serving individuals with disabilities, helped hundreds of clients live with dignity, purpose, and potential. Included in this area is our agency's single largest government contract, which is to serve PDD clients, people with developmental disabilities. We are honored to be trusted to operate 76 houses for people with developmental disabilities in communities all across our great province. Together, these residences are home to a combined 269 people. In January of this year, I received a letter from a mother of 2 men who live with us, and I'd like to take a moment to share portions of it with you. It begins, "Dear Troy, my sons and I have been receiving supports from CSS since 2014. Our little family of 3 have very little support besides a couple of friends that we have known for a very long time. Because of this, as a mother, I have to heavily rely on staff from CSS. In 2014, CSS was the only agency in our area who joyfully agreed to take care of our family. There was not another single agency who could take on the complex supports that we needed. This past year proved very, very challenging for our family. I battled a medical condition that had me in the hospital for over a month. CSS staff stepped up to ensure that my boys were safe and taken care of while I was unable to take care of them. After I battled this medical issue, my older son became very ill as well and also ended up hospitalized. I was still recovering from illness, and so his CSS coordinator stayed by his side at the hospital while he recovered. During these difficult times, my other son's staff ensured that he was supported and provided with everything he needed to get through seeing both his mom and his brother very ill. The 3 of us are very, very close to each other. For all the amazing support, care, and consideration of CSS, I will be forever grateful. Sincerely." And then she signs the letter. It's a privilege for CSS to be able to do work like this. And I'm grateful to know that we've given peace and comfort to parents like this mother, while also empowering developmentally disabled men and women like her sons to live full, joy-filled lives in the community. In addition to our PDD clients, we also served an additional 504 individuals with disabilities through our outreach programs, such as Supported Independent Living, or SIL. SIL serves adults with developmental disabilities who don't require 24/7 care, but benefit from additional support. These are clients like Danielle, who's featured in our annual report. Our work with people with disabilities is not limited only to adults. Family supports for children with disabilities, or FSCD clients, are provided services as well, including outreach, in-home, long-term, and respite care. And we do additional work on behalf of people impacted by fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, including our McDaniel Youth Program, which served 95 youth last year through one of our one-on-one mentorship programs, and dozens more were served through short-term crisis intervention. And finally, in Red Deer, we supported 115 adults living with acquired brain injury. We helped these individuals regain control of their lives after serious injury, including relearning basic life skills like grocery shopping, cooking, and banking. Each year, CSS conducts an annual client satisfaction survey. It's imperative that we know and understand our clients' experience. And year after year, I am proud of the feedback we receive while still acknowledging room for continuous growth. In 2019-2020, 93% of clients said they were satisfied with the services they received. 92% said they would happily receive services from us again. 92% also said they would recommend our agency to others, and 95% of our clients said that they felt they were treated with dignity and respect by our staff. And speaking of our staff, at CSS, we are truly blessed to have caring and committed employees who are passionate about the work that we do. Their passion and commitment has never been more evident than it was this past year. Back in October, we underwent our agency's external reaccreditation process. It's a rigorous journey that we undertake every 4 years. Accreditation ensures that we maintain the highest known standards of client care and service delivery, and I am proud that 2019 marked our 40th straight year of international accreditation. Then, shortly thereafter, in November of 2019, we were the victims of a fierce ransomware attack. It took many weeks to restore our back-end administrative operations, but throughout it all, our services to clients remained practically unaffected. With clients as our priority, our staff rose above the technological challenges to ensure continuity in care and uninterrupted service delivery. Then, in March 2020, COVID-19 came to Alberta. We worked swiftly to pivot and adapt our services. Programs that could be delivered online were. Other services, like our PDD residences and group homes for youth, responded quickly to new and frequently changing health orders. But our frontline staff put fear of the unknown aside, showed up day after day, shift after shift, as they still do today. These people truly are some of our society's greatest unsung heroes. Of our nearly 1,900 employees, almost 50% have been with our agency for 6 years or longer. As many of you know, the not-for-profit sector is one that traditionally sees high employee turnover. So the fact that many of our staff choose to stay with CSS for years, decades, or even their entire career means so much. I think it speaks to the engagement and personal investment our staff have with the organizational mission and values that guide us. I would be remiss if I spoke about our people and I didn't mention our leadership. At CSS, we embrace and we follow a servant leadership model throughout the agency. This means we live and we work with a proclivity and a passion to serve, a readiness to wash the feet of the weary and the wounded of our world. And I'm thankful to our leaders, from our team leaders in the field all the way up to our cabinet team. I'm thankful for their tireless efforts to keep the people living on the margins of our society at the very center of our attention and our efforts. This servant leadership philosophy also extends to our board of directors. Our 13 directors each bring their own diverse perspectives and expertise. But within that board diversity is unity. Unity around our values and what we're trying to accomplish. And therein lies our strength. So to each of our board members, I say thank you. It takes a lot of money to keep a mission like ours moving. And I am pleased to share that last year's financial statements, as audited by PwC, came back with no reported deficiencies. Our total revenue was just shy of $102 million, which represents a 2.9% increase from last year. And of that, about 60% was expended in Edmonton, with the remaining 40% spent in Red Deer and the other 11 communities we serve throughout central Alberta. Our revenue, of course, comes from multiple sources, including all three levels of government. Our public funders are absolutely vital to our operation, and we are tremendously thankful to them for entrusting us to offer services on their behalf. The Government of Alberta continues to be our largest funder, accounting for almost 80% of our total agency revenues, while the Government of Canada represents 10% of all revenue received, primarily for contracts related to immigration and settlement, as well as contracts to operate halfway houses for offenders to make a successful transition back into the community. Counted among the remaining 10% of our revenue is 3.7% in the form of private grants and donations through our fundraising arm, Sign of Hope. This is an extraordinarily important 3.7%, for it allows us to provide services in your communities that we would not otherwise be able to provide. Donations through Sign of Hope fund up to 20 different CSS programs, including our elder abuse program, our homes for women and children fleeing domestic violence, our Welcome Home program, which provides social connection to the formerly homeless and the recently housed, and our newest program, Morning Star, which provides outreach and drop-in services to deeply traumatized and at-risk women in Red Deer. To fully articulate the power of Sign of Hope donations at work, I want to share some comments we received from Morning Star clients over the last month. Directly from their mouths, they told us, "I don't think I could have survived COVID without you. I'm so happy you're still open. I really don't know what I would do otherwise. Sometimes when things are really bad out there, I just count how many days or hours until I can be here and see you guys. You guys are brave. It's scary out there, but you're still here. Still here for us. You don't mess around. You know that we need you." So to our Sign of Hope donors and grantors out there, my sincere thanks. Your financial gifts, especially now, mean so much to our agency and the clients we serve. It is not an exaggeration to say that your generosity is keeping people alive. Whether it's Sign of Hope, Catholic Social Services, or Catholic Charities, you can always view our complete audited financial statements by visiting us online at cssalberta.ca. I want to close by saying a warm thank you to everyone joining us virtually today. At CSS, we know why we do what we do. We do it because we're here to serve. And we do it because we believe, even in moments when our world may be bleary, there's always hope that tomorrow can be made better. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much, Troy. Thank you for your enthusiasm and passion for Catholic Social Services. Thank you for your unwavering commitment to our values and our people, and for your steady guidance of our agency through the challenges this past year has brought us. You and your team have continued to fulfill our agency's mission, serving those in need with great humility, compassion, and respect, even during these difficult days. And now, as the final segment of our program, I would like to introduce and welcome Estherine Mwanza, a Catholic Social Services client, who will share her personal story with us. Welcome, Estherine.
Hello, everybody. My name is Estherine Mwanza, and I'm 20 years old. I'm a Congolese by origin. I live with my parents and two siblings, a brother and a sister. I've been a refugee in Uganda for almost 8 to 9 years. And living as a refugee was quite challenging for me and my family. I really faced a lot of difficulties, and I recall I was treated like a second-class citizen, which was really traumatizing and overwhelming. Most of the times, I would always sit down in my bedroom and dream of the day that I will go somewhere where I feel wanted, appreciated, a place where I would call home again. And coming to Canada was one of the best things that happened to me. It was a very big dream come true for me and my family. I remember when I reached Toronto Airport, I was telling my mom, hey, please pinch me. Am I really here? And she would be like, yes, you're finally here. It was such an amazing experience for me and my family. For a newcomer in a new country, the first experience, the first expression means everything. I was looking forward to meeting people and asking myself a lot of questions. Will I be accepted? Will I feel wanted? Will I matter? Because I never wanted to feel like a stranger again. And yes, Catholic Social Services was one of the best organizations that I came to know. They received us so much, so well, with a warm welcome. We received one of the best hospitalities. I remember it was this kind of hospitality that made me feel like, yes, I would want to do this in future. I would want to pursue such a career because I want to offer my hope. The same way I was helped is the same way I want to help very many people out there. Very many others out there, newcomers coming to Canada, immigrants coming here. Our first impression when you reach a new place, you always want to see, are these people welcoming? And yes, Canada was really welcoming to me and my family. It welcomed us so openly. And I look forward to working in different immigration offices because I want to pursue such a career in my future. Here in Canada, my family and we got to meet a Latin family from Latin America, a single mom. She was also a newcomer like me and my family. She really faced a very huge difficulty in language barrier because she could only speak Spanish and she did not know English or French. But my family and I, together with the help of Catholic Social Services, we managed to help her out adjust to the new environment and she felt at home. She now calls us mom, dad, sister, brother, because she felt the welcome and the warmth society around her. I grew up in a religious family, and my father often taught me that in life it's always good to help people with humility, respect, and compassion. And these are the things that I found that works. These are the same values and beliefs that Catholic Social Services have. And that helped me and my family to really connect together with the Catholic Social Services. Welcoming a person is something that not everybody is used to because we have different cultures and beliefs. Some people are used to just being independent and not used to connecting with people from different varieties of the world. But that's one of the things that I felt like my family has introduced here because now we welcome people in our homes openly, collectively, and we work together to make Canada a better place to stay. I'm so happy that I was chosen here today to share my story and inspire very many people out there, new immigrants, people hoping to come here in Canada. I'm really happy that I became part of that inspiration, and I'm so happy that I was part of this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Estherine, for sharing your incredibly powerful story with us. We are thrilled that you could be with us today and to provide us with such encouragement. Your story is a testament of perseverance, strength, and determination, and you're an inspiration to all of us. Thank you so much. If you would like to read more stories like Estherine's or those Troy shared with you today, you can visit our website at cssalberta.ca to see a copy of this year's annual report, as well as a copy of our Sign of Hope donor newsletter. Once on the website, just click the Our Mission button. And this brings our annual public meeting to a close. We aim to be brief so as to honor your time, and we are incredibly grateful that you took the opportunity to be with us today in whatever part of Alberta you may be logging in from. If you have any questions or comments or feedback, we invite you to send them to us at communications@cssalberta.ca, and we will certainly strive to have a timely response back to you. Thank you once again for joining us this morning. God bless you and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.